Hello guys, how's it going? So today we've got a deck profile video of one of my current favourite decks, which is the Power Knights. Now as you can tell by the name, it's going to consist mostly of Knight type units, but we are actually rocking the Beta Core because this actually combos extremely well with our royalty rares. So the core we're going to be using, Beta Core, and our two royalty rares is going to be Neon and King Rhaenys. Now the best combo you're going to want is basically you need to try and get him out as soon as possible and protect him at all costs. Once you've got 10 cards in your dead zone, you can use its ability. Let's say you've got him out already. That ability basically says you can summon any card from your hand for free. So we're going to summon, of course, the big cheese, King Rhaenys. Now because you've used his the core's ability, that will also trigger Neon, which says when you use your core's ability, you may search your deck for a Knight unit and put it into play. So that basically imitates what the Beta Core does. That then means you can search through your deck and play another powerful unit, which basically gives you free monster units, which will surely help you win the game. So, what's in the deck? That's the best combo you can get in the game. It's a little bit tricky, it's not the easiest one to pull off, but if you can pull it off, then Bob's your uncle. So, apart from the core, there are your two royalty rares. And then we're moving into our assault type units. So we've got an Entrusting Virago. Basically, whenever another one of your units rolls a 5 or 6 in battle, this gains a permanent 1 attack until it leaves play. So that's really good. Then we've got one copy of Charging Swordsman. 2 copies of Knight of Goodwill. Basically, whenever this unit rolls a 6 in battle, all of your other units gain a permanent 1 attack until they leave play. So that combos very nicely with the Virago card. 3 copies of Trainee Soldier, so it's a 1 cost. Basically, whenever one of your other assault units rolls a 5 or 6, this gains a temporary 1 attack boost for the turn. So for a 1 cost card, if you can get a couple of them out, then even better. I've actually got that one in Glare. Then we're moving on to 2 copies of Foot Soldier. So it's just a basic common unit, 2/2/2, 1 in Glare. Then we've got 2 copies of Tactical Lieutenant. This is a reinforced card which basically buffs the card, the assault unit above it. So the reinforced unit gains 1 attack. Whenever the reinforced unit kills an enemy unit via a counter attack, which pretty much they all do, draw 3 cards. So that'll give you a super card draw whenever you successfully counter attack against an enemy unit. Then we've got 1 copy of Advocate Flagbearer, which is another reinforced unit. The reinforced unit gains an attack boost equal to this unit's attack value. When one of your units dies, that unit gains a permanent 1 attack. So this buffs itself when you lose a unit, and then whatever unit this is under, it will basically add this value onto the assault unit above it. It's quite a nice little card. I've only put 1 copy in because of its cost, but it's a really good card. Then 2 copies of Training Dummies. Now this is actually a really good card. It's extremely weak, however it gives the reinforced unit 2 attack, and it makes it easier to hit when you roll the dice, because the knights usually have quite a high die roll to be able to hit in battle. This unit will actually reduce that dice roll requirement to hit, so they're really good. Now we're moving on to the action cards. So obviously we've got 2 copies of Warfront Expedite. This basically lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can put them back in any order, leaving 1 revealed. You can reduce the cost of that one on the top of your deck by 1 and play it this turn if you so wish, so they're really good. 3 copies of Recruitment. This basically gives you 1 extra charge, whichever way you want to look at it. The next unit you play this turn costs 2 less to play, so that's the gold number in the corner. Really good on turn 1. Then in terms of removal, you've got 2 copies of Fireball. Deal 3 damage to any 1 enemy assault unit. So for 2 costs, that's actually pretty good. It slows your opponent down from attacking your core. One of the best burn cards in the game, and it's in Exler. Deal 5 damage to any 1 enemy unit. That's good for getting rid of the rares. Then these are your support cards. So we've got an action card called Electrified Strength. Any 1 unit you have in play gains 1 attack for this turn. If that unit kills another unit this turn, your opponent must discard the top card of their deck. So again, nice simple ruling and very effective. 2 copies of them. 2 copies of caltrops. These basically cancel and negate the battle phase, so if you're about to lose a unit to your enemy attacks, then you can throw caltrops down and cancel the attack. 1 copy of Victorious Moment. If you damage your opponent's core this turn, draw 2 cards. Again, nice little support. Massive Assault. Your assault units in play gain 1 attack for the turn. If a unit of yours deals damage to the enemy core this turn, charge your core once. So it's a nice, easy to understand ruling. If your opponent's got no defensive units out and you play this card and you hit 3 times with your units, you get to draw 3 cards. Onto the defensives now. These actually collaborate really, really well with each other, and the main focus of the knights is to basically defend your core. So that's the cost and the health. Obviously defensive units cannot attack, but they usually have a slightly higher health value than all the other cards in the game. So we've got 2 copies of a basic Field Gates. We've got 2 copies of Outland Watchtower. Now this is actually really good when I played against it with Scott. Basically, when this card is targeted by an enemy attack, roll a die before your opponent does. If it's even, draw a card. If it's odd, it gains 1 health for the turn. That odd roll is actually really good because then it buffs it to 5. If your opponent attacks it again and you roll a second odd, it makes it 6. So it can increase its defensive value for the turn. 1 copy of Dark Stronghold. Basically, action cards cannot damage it, and other defensive units each gain 1 health. 2 copies of Foot of the Clouds. Your assault units that are reinforced gain 1 health. Again, it's a pretty simple card to understand, but all this means is the assault units at the front need to be reinforced by a reinforced type unit to gain an extra 1 health. And finally, 2 copies of Fort Caderon. All of these defensive units are classed as garrisons because it says so just there. And this basically says if you have got 3 garrisons, which is the maximum number of defensive units you can have out in play, then set all 3 defensive units to a maximum of 10 health. So you can even just have 1 copy of these and then 2 Fort of the Clouds, which are nice and easy to get out, and then all 3 of them become 10 health, which is a monster of a defensive line. Basically, your opponent has to manage to deal 10 damage to 1 of these units to be able to break the effect of Fort Caderon. But you've got so many defensives in this deck, it's going to be really hard for your opponent to keep that 10 damage continuously flowing. Anyway, that is the deck profile for a deck what I've put together called Power Knights. A lot of buffing, a lot of defense, and a lot of support as well. So this deck is all about brute force and basically forcing your way through your opponent's defensive while maintaining a nice supportive defensive. Anyway guys, let me know what you think, and if you've got any ideas to the deck, if you've got any questions, be sure to leave a comment and a like below, and I shall see you in the next video. Thank you very much.